Hi guys, and welcome back to the cookie jar. Today we are making the final recipe in candy for Christmas. It is the 9th one. It is called Way Fudge. So there are a couple of notes on the recipe before we get started. It says the first one is you don't need a candy thermometer to make this fudge. If you've got a microwave, you don't even need a stove to make this fudge. The second note is that a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk contains approximately 1 1/3 cups. You're going to be dividing the can in thirds, so make each third a bit less than half a cup and you'll come out all right. I actually just divided the amount of grams. I think it's like 397 by 3. Which comes out to 132 grams, and I weighed it out that way just to be accurate, which I thought was the best way to do it. And the final note was Mike really likes this fudge when I add chopped macadamia nuts to the middle layer. Norman thinks it's best with chopped pecans in the bottom layer. I suppose that should tell me something about the personalities, but I have no idea what it is. It does say what to do with each direction. I'm going to be making it in the microwave today. To get started for this 3-way fudge, you will need 1 cup, a 6-ounce package of semi-sweet chocolate chips. It says I used Ghirardelli's. 1 cup, 6-ounce package white chocolate chips. I used Ghirardelli's. 1 cup, 6-ounce package milk chocolate chips. I used Ghirardelli's. And a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. And lastly, 6 tablespoons of butter. Now, I think you're supposed to do this either way you make it, but line an 8-inch square pan with wax paper or line it with foil and spray the foil with nonstick cooking spray. You can make this fudge on the stovetop or in the microwave. Either way will work just fine. If you choose the stovetop method, use a heavy saucepan and stir constantly while you're melting the chocolate and other ingredients. For the microwave, they combine everything in the mixing cup. They process it for 70 seconds on high. And it says to remember that chocolate chips maintain their shape even after they're melted, so don't go by appearance, you'll have to stir them to be sure. So everything is laid out in the kitchen. Let's get in there and get started. Here's everything we're gonna need to do the fudge. We've got the sweetened condensed milk, we've got the 6 tablespoons of butter, and then the cup of semi-sweet, white, and milk chips. Okay, so the first thing that we do is make the semi-sweet layer, and we're just going to add everything into the bowl. That's the 2 tablespoons of butter and the the condensed milk. So 1 cup of semi-sweet chips, 2 tablespoons of butter, and the let's call it the third part of the sweetened condensed milk. And then we're just going to stir that up and pop it in the microwave on high for 70 seconds. And then we'll stir it up and see if it's melted. Now, it doesn't really give any directions if it's not melted. I assume just keep putting it back in for 20 seconds, 15 seconds until it is melted. That's my guess. But I'm just going to try to mix this up a little bit, because the last time we melted chocolate in the microwave, I had a hard time getting it all mixed in off the bottom. So I'm hoping this will be a little bit easier. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so it has been 70 seconds, and we have this kind of mixture here. It's a lot of butter sitting on top. And we're just going to mix that up and try to get everything combined together, because like I said, a lot of the butter is just sitting on top. And once we have this thoroughly mixed together and everything's melted, which for the most part it seems like it is melted, it doesn't seem not melted. There doesn't seem to be chunks or anything. Although I am going to say this does not have a yield amount on it, but it does not seem like it's going to make very much. I've got that all mixed up. It's kind of glossy and globby. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the prepared 8-inch pans. I've lined mine with wax paper. And we are just going to pour it in well, we're going to try to pour it in. And then we are to smooth it out, let it sit until it is cool or hardened, slightly hardened. And then we are going to repeat the process with both the white chocolate and the milk chocolate. Like I said, it does not seem like it's going to make very much. So if you're making this for anything special, any kind of gathering, I would probably make 2. Just to be on the safe side. There is our first layer. I'm going to give it, let's say 5 minutes. And we'll see how it looks then. Okay, so now that this has hardened a little bit, I'm gonna take a separate piece of wax paper and just kind of push down, trying to smooth it out a little bit better than I did with the spatula. So it's a little better. So now we're gonna get started on our next section. It's the 1 cup of white chocolate, 2 tablespoons of butter, and the second part of our condensed milk. Scrape all that in. And then we're going to mix it together just like we did with the semi-sweet. I know in the notes it says I use Ghirardelli's, I use Ghirardelli's, I use Ghirardelli's. One of the reasons they might have emphasized that so much is because this is literally all that's in this fudge is your chocolate chips, your butter, and your condensed milk. So the only flavor change you're really making is in the brand of chips you use. So they really want to stress you to use the best ones possible so that you have the best flavor possible. That would be my take on that. All right, so we have our mixed. We will put this in the microwave for 70 seconds and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we've had our 70 seconds in the microwave. We're just going to mix it up, just like we did with the last one. Definitely taking longer to melt right now than I feel like it took the semi-sweet. All right, so once we get it as lump-free as I can make it, the next thing to do is to pour it and smooth it out onto the semi-sweet. Okay, and once again, we're just gonna kind of smooth it out to all the sides. That is our final layer. It's already starting to harden. Once again, we'll give it 5 minutes and then I will try to smush it down the rest of the way with an extra sheet of wax paper and we'll see you then. So it took a lot longer for the white to cool off than it did for the semi-sweet. So same thing, we're just gonna take the wax paper and just kind of push it down gently to kind of smooth it out a little better than what we had it. Okay. So next, we are doing the exact same process. 1 cup of chips, 2 tablespoons of butter. The other one seems to be stuck. Here we go. And the last third of the condensed milk. Now we're just going to give this a little stir. Now we're going to pop it in the microwave for 70 seconds. Okay, it's been 70 seconds and now we're just going to mix it until it's smooth. Now this is the milk chocolate. We've already done the semi-sweet and the white. All right, so once again, we take our 8-inch wax paper, get it all out, topping the white chocolate. Now the white might have been the hardest to melt, but it was the easiest to spread. What we're going to do with it now that we have the third and final layer on top, it says to let it sit in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Overnight is even better. And then you turn it out onto a cutting board and cut it into bite-sized squares. I'm actually not sure how I'm going to end up cutting this yet. we'll see when we turn it out in 2 hours. Okay, so it has been about 3 hours. Here is our fudge. Now it says just to take it out. Gravity! Haha. Voila. This. Nice little brick of fudge. Now we just cut it into bite-sized pieces. Let's go with one of the middle pieces. Just a little. Okay. It's sweet. I don't think you'd be able to eat very much of this. Like, I think the little squares I chopped them into would be a really good size. I think this is cute. I think it's clever. It does mention in the notes about the nuts, which I think could be interesting. I didn't personally do that, but I think if I was to make it again, I would try. I think it'd be a great addition. Now, next week, we are actually starting the next book. We're starting a Strawberry Shortcake Murder, which is the second book, the second actual book in the series. And it starts out with the aforementioned strawberry shortcake. With that recipe, we're making a couple days in advance. It will be making the shortcake for it. And then the day you put it together, you cut up the strawberries, you make the creme fraiche. That will be our next video next week. Come join us at the cookie jar and have a good week.